Oh boy, this has been an absolute roller coaster of a league. We have had the league mechanic come in and everybody say it was really, really bad. Then GG came in and buffed it and definitely over buffed it to a point where it was printing divines and the economy was going insane and there was crazy inflation. And now they have come back from their vacation and have applied a big nerf to the temple. And to be honest, I don't think that this nerf was the best nerf ever. Now, of course, I think part of it is going to be good, right? We'll go into it a little bit, but I think there's a huge oversight in one of the nerfs that they did that has a huge impact on everybody, but especially the players who were casual and weren't able to build up their temples like the people at the top. And the people at the top are not being affected by this that much. But we'll go into the patch notes and I'll explain why I say that. So, first off, they added diminishing returns to the modifier values applied by rooms. This doesn't kick in until you have 4 or more of a given room type placed. Basically, right now the meta is to chain a bunch of spy masters because they boost all of the other good rooms, and the more that you have, the more that you're going to sustain because they're also very, very good at dropping the locks that prevent you for your rooms from destabilizing. So this was the meta, and as a result, they're like, okay, well, since you guys are chaining this, and this is not like the way that we intended it to be, we're going to make it so that as you're chaining more and more of the same rooms, they're going to give you a diminishing return, meaning that you're going to get less overall as you place down more rooms. So this, they said, is going to have a minor impact on the average temple setup, if at all, but relatively high impact on top end of temples. And that's true. The people who have, not huge temples aren't going to have a ton of spy masters, and they're not going to have a ton of these same rooms repeating. But the people at the top, they do, and this is going to be impacting them a lot. Apparently, these temples were causing drastic server performance issues because of probably a ton of loot dropping and often case crashing. If you have enough rooms placed to engage the diminishing returns, it will only apply to lower tier rooms first, making sure that the higher tier rooms benefit from the temple as much as they can. This is not really that impactful for the people at the top, at least this last line, because most of them only had tier 3s anyways. But this overall has definitely nerfed the temple by a ton. People went from going 100 divs, 120 divs a temple, which was what Flubgun was doing, down to about 20 divs. So it's a huge nerf to the top end of the temple, which, to be honest, I think was necessary. And even if the people at the top think it was necessary and fine. I was listening to Flubgun. He's saying, I'm still getting 20 divs a temple, and that is totally fine. Before, it was definitely a huge outlier, and now it still is better than anything else in the game. But at the same time, it is not going to cause the same level of inflation as before. So this, in my opinion, it's a decent change, but at the same time, if you are implementing such a big change to the economy, what happened is that everything already inflated to a crazy high value, right? People have kind of already made their money. So what this also impacts is that anybody in the future, let's just say you just built up your temple, now your temple is going to be way less profitable. You're going to have way less money than the people at the top, and that is very unfortunate. My guess is that eventually the economy will kind of stabilize because the people at the top might stop playing or whatever. Less money's in the economy as a result. People start using their currency, things like that. That's going to cause the economy to eventually stabilize. And since everybody on the top, everybody across the board got it nerfed, then it's going to eventually be fine. But this next line here is the biggest impact. And I think that this one is definitely a nerf that I think they didn't really think through. So right here, Drolodli's medallion, which is the locking medallion, can only be placed on tier 3 rooms. Now, this is a massive change and a huge nerf to anybody who is building their temple right now. And in general, it's not really much of a nerf to the people at the top who already have their temples built out because they already pretty much all have tier 3 rooms set up. So unfortunately, what this means is that everybody who was playing like more of a casual player, right? They didn't have as much time to build their temple, but they were working up to it. Now, their half complete temple, unfortunately, is going to be way harder to build compared to what it was before. And everybody who had their temple built already is still sitting pretty. So this, as a result, not only hurts the people at the top too, but also hurts the people at the bottom, and more so the people who are playing less and don't have their temples built out. Because again, the people at the top already mostly have tier 3 rooms, and it's only the people who are building it up right now that don't have that. So it's going to be either impossible to build up now or way harder at the very least to get it to where everybody already has their temples built up to, because they're not nerfing the appearance rate of these locks, right? So everybody at the top will still get a ton of locks and keep their temple intact, but the people building it up will no longer be able to build it up as easily anymore. I think that this was a huge oversight, and instead of hurting the people that are more casual, they definitely should have been only targeting the people that were at the top, making way too much money, and helping the people who are at the bottom and kind of helping push them up. So this is very, very questionable. I don't know why GGG did this. It must have been like a knee-jerk reaction, in my opinion, because if you just put a little bit of thought into it, you would know that this doesn't really make much sense. Now, I have heard reports of people saying that they potentially nerf the drop rate of the locks. I don't know if this is true. A lot of it is like variance, a lot of it is luck. Maybe, they went a run without getting a lock because it was just an unlucky run. We're going to have to see as more people run more temples, and maybe if the temples are starting to deconstruct because of unluckiness or the drop rate being reduced, then we're going to get the playing field a little bit more evened out. But as it stands, with what they have put in front of us, unfortunately, it only seems like the people who are building their temples are going to be the ones who are impacted the most, and the people at the top are going to be still living fine. Now, the next change is that they have made it so that the room bonuses increased by Golem Works or Spy Masters have been flipped. So basically, everybody who had a bunch of Spy Masters, unfortunately, are going to be getting a huge nerf to the temple. But for the most part, everybody who has their temple set up already is still fine. They're still getting a lot of money. Golem Works, unfortunately, are a little bit harder to sustain because there's less rooms that connect to it. But still, if you're building up your temple, you could probably change it, or you can just keep it the same way and just get the 20 divines per hour, and that's still, or not per hour, per temple, and that's still fine, right? That's still a lot of money. So this, as a result, is going to be making a little bit more variety, I guess, in the rooms. But in reality, I don't think it's going to have that huge of an impact, especially the people who already have their temples built out. And this one, they fixed a bug causing magic and rare monsters to spawn more often at lower levels. So those are the changes. But again, these two changes are going to be the most impactful. And honestly, again, I think it is going to impact people who are building up their temple already, or still building up their temple, much more than the people who are already have their temple built out fully. I don't know what's going on. Again, it doesn't make much sense to me the way that they nerfed it, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Are you happy with these changes? Are you pissed off? Like, how are you guys feeling? Because I'm feeling pretty uneasy about this. It doesn't feel great, even as a person who didn't, do the temple much. Like, I didn't build out a big temple. I was just doing at Siri rushing. I don't like this change. But, the people at the top, I've been listening to them, Cute Dog, Fubgun, all these guys who have been building their temples. It seems like they have the same opinion. They feel like it's fine that their temples got nerfed because they're still getting a lot of loot, but it's really bad for the people who are just, still building it up right now. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of these types of update videos and my thoughts, the best way to support the channel and let me know is by hitting the sub button. It is completely free and it helps me a lot. I also stream on twitch.tv/PizzaLikeShrew every single night. So I'd love to see you guys there. But if not, hopefully I see y'all on the next video. All right, guys. Peace.